All right, y'all. Today we're looking at this boudoir photography business. We're going to see if it's local search or if its city search has BSS. Also see if it's hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google. All right, so we're back in the GBC universe. We're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. And as always, our North Star here is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that, pinned video up on the top, homepage, wherever. Now, this is because FSIC explains that all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got in white down there, our intent, basically our intent spectrum, highest intent on the left, lowest intent over on the right. And so if a boudoir photography business is rising, it's most likely bringing in peeps from the entire intent spectrum, the whole length. And if it's if a boudoir photography business is falling, then most likely it's missing, not bringing in, some cohort of people. Now, the highest 10 people over on the left are doing things like Google search, social media search, like a boudoir photo shoot in their city, like right now. And those people are fastest to money, highest to convert. We talk about that with BSS here in our videos. And then our sister brand, way at the end over there, name is Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. That's where we are talking about BLCS. But right now, we're only currently working with the boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. So onto BSS. BSS is boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google for the highest intent buyer keywords in their city. And so 0 slots is awful. I mean, we're basically dead at that point. That's because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page 2. So 80% of Google searches literally, one and done Google searches, or page 1 and done Google searches. So from page 2, only approximately 20% of searches of people searching will ever even find us. And page 1 slot, that's not good either. Or 1 slot on page 1, I mean, it's better, but we're still basically invisible because guess what? There's 10 organic slots on page 1. If we go on one of them, then there's basically 9 other boudoir photographers with 1 slot. Best scenario. Worst scenario is if another boudoir photographer is like 2 or 3, and then we're kind of really never getting looked at. So let's say everyone has 1. And guess what a buyer's doing? They're going down, clicking, open everyone's link on page 1, because approximately 80% of buyers ain't even hitting page 2. And guess what? They're contacting everyone on page 1, getting a quote from everyone, comparing, price gets shoved down through the roof or down through the floor, and kind of steals margin from everyone. So 0, 1 slots on page 1 on Google, no. As BSS, we cannot deal with any of that. And that's because 0, 1 slots on page 1 on Google is actually not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. So it's super common, it's accepted, but symptom of 2 deeper root causes, and those are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, yeah, basically everyone knows this. It's like, seems like every week somebody gets a new iPhone, and then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile on their websites and the National Boudoir. That's kind of taking competition, page 1 organic slots away from us. And or someone gets a camera, and they're posting to the mom groups in the National Boudoir. Also, big wave of this happened during COVID. People lost their jobs, but still earn money. So as a result, everyone's got a smartphone and an awesome camera. So pretty easy people to say that they now for boudoir. But what that does increase the supply of boudoir photographers, but the number of buyers remains the same. So it makes it harder for every seller, every boudoir photographer to be getting those clients. All right, so everyone knows that. Basically, everyone knows that. Basically, nobody knows about this second thing, which is the false belief of page 1 equality. That is kind of boudoir photographers kind of automatically assuming without even questioning that every boudoir photographer is entitled, to like either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe they had their slot 8 on page 1 of Google with their website. So new boudoir photographers came in, ranked higher, and got pushed out to page 2. And it's like, oh, well, every boudoir photographer gets 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. It is what it is. And basically, they're believing there's nothing that can be done about it. So this is 100% incorrect. And I know this for a fact because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google, on page 1 of Google, to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in only 10 days with this new strategy we're going to show you all today, or that I'll describe today. And it's kind of like we got to break through the mental barrier of accepting this as a false belief. And then once we do that, we can see, okay, there is a solution out there that we'll get to in like 2 pictures here. That, okay, we can use this to actually literally get as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort for. Next, boudoir photographer BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So disappearing boudoir photographer. Basically, if we got 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google, we're disappearing because we're either on page 2 or deeper, and approximately 8% of searchers are never going to find us, and that's the bulk of the market that we care about. And if we got 1 slot on page 1 on Google, we're being price shopped against the other 9, destroying our margins. We're basically invisible anyways. And we care about this because a disappearing boudoir photographer is the warning light. It's kind of the the red flag going up, where a disappearing boudoir photographer precedes the boudoir photography business itself disappearing. So that's why we care about that. And we got our micro universe here. We got disappearing with boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one the false belief of page one equality, where we accept it's a false belief. So we're like, okay, now what's the solution? Boom, we finally got a solution. But through our testing, we've learned that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S-cubed methodology. And we know this works because we invented it. It's what I use to go from 0 out of 10 slots, page one on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page one on Google, in only 10 days. And I mean, it works exactly as it's described. We saturate social search with the highest intent keywords, pick up as many slots on social as possible on social search, and that kind of acts as like the backside of the Andes Mountains in South America, where the streams, the small rivers from the backside of the Andes Mountains actually all flow together to the Amazon River, and into the big Amazon River. That big Amazon River is like page one on Google, and so, but it all starts with social search saturation. That's where it all stems from. And the cool thing about this is the only solution I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation, so maintain the business and not decline, but also still grow in the face of market saturation, and for it to happen relatively quickly. And those at least visible results of getting on page one of Google that happen relatively quickly. The only other solution that I have seen is having a strong brand, but that takes 5 to 10 years, which doesn't satisfy the relatively quickly criteria that we need. Because dude, we're in the AI. Dude, AI taking people's jobs. We gotta get as much. We gotta get as much slots on page one as Google as possible before AI starts taking people's jobs. And I mean, it's pretty easy to see S-cubed methodology can do this. So imagine we're in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and there's 1 million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got their website saying they shoot boudoir. So page one competition is insanely crazy. And let's say we take, we see that and we say, okay, we got to take S-cubed methodology to the max. So what we actually do is we actually do S-cubed methodology so hard that we're like the first 300 slots on social search for the highest intent keywords, highest intent buyer keywords for boudoir in our city across all the social networks. And then let's say that flows onto Google, and we're taking like the first 300 slots on Google for the highest intent keywords for boudoir buyers in our city. And it's 10 organic slots per page on Google. So we're literally taking out the first 30 pages on Google. So anytime any buyer looks up, types in a high intent buyer keyword into Google, or even any of the social networks, they're only seeing us. They basically got to go to like page 31 on Google to essentially find any of our competitors. And so once that happens, then basically once that happens, and buyers can essentially only find us. They only see us. Who are they going to go with? Obviously us, whose business will be growing, even though there's 999,999 other boudoir photographers. Obviously us, and whose business will be dying and disappearing because they essentially cannot be found at all for anyone searching. All our competitors. So again, this is why I said the S-cubed methodology is the only thing I've seen that helps boudoir photographers maintain and still grow their business in the face of market saturation. That happens, or I can get on page one of Google relatively quickly, way faster than Brandon. In my estimation, I could probably build that brand about 8x faster than normally because we show up so much more on so many other surfaces. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we now have page one visibility. So, we got multiple slots on page one Google as an initial benefit. Second initial benefit is every new slot we get on page one of Google, we're actually kicking one of our competitors at that slot, push them off to page one or deeper, making so approximately 80% of Google searches can never find them. So we turn them into disappearing boudoir photographers where if they stay there, they're eventually going to exit, be kicked out of the market. So this is an awesome, second initial benefit of using S-cubed methodology. So we're making other peeps invisible. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So BSV, we actually, this is where our GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page one on Google comes in. So GBC universe recommends 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google because basically every other boudoir photographer page one on Google will have 1 out of 10 slots or 1 slot. So if we see 3, or if a buyer sees 3, they're kind of subconsciously going to think, why is Google recommending this person so much? I guess I'll click into them and may not even click on any of our competitors. And second reason GBC Universe recommends 3 out of 10 as the minimum, because there's a tiny, tiny, tiny chance another boudoir photographer can have 2. um, which means we also got to be able to dominate them in that case as well, with us having 3. So, and the recommendation of 3 is basically if we got 3 out of 10 page 1 on Google, we're basically guaranteeing we're not declining. So we're guaranteeing we're either, treading water, so maintaining the business, or growing the business. Most likely growing the business, but at least we're at least not declining. That's like the big goal here. And finally, Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search visibility is a visible Boudoir photographer. So we got our full micro universe here. A disappearing Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page 1 and the false belief, page 1 equality. Now we have the solution S-cubed methodology. We achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible Boudoir photographer with Boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results doing this. So I wanted to rank for the term BLCS Boudoir. So I know, okay, the exact thing I do for that is S-cubed methodology. I want to have as many slots page 1 Google as possible. Let's go down the organic slots. And we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 9, no, I'm not slot 9. Slot 10, me. So, dude, I went from 0 out of 10 slots to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 of Google in only 10 days, purely using S-cubed methodology. So these are the results I've gotten for myself with it. So moving on to our main event here, we're going to check this Boudoir photography business, see if it's got BSS for local and city search, see if it's in its GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 page 1 slots. So let's go. All right, I'm going to Virginia Beach. All right, that's fine. So let's check this out. Virginia Beach. Boom, we got 1. And boom, we got 2. Okay. All right, so we got 2 out of 10 for local. So we do not have BSS, but we did not hit the GBC recommend minimum of 3 out of 10 slots. Page 1 on Google. All right, now we're going to go to our city search, Norfolk, Virginia. All right, so let's check this out. So let's see. Let's see if we got any here. No fire, so we're at 0 out of 10. And yeah, city's always harder to rank for than local. So we're at 2 out of 10, page 1, Google for local. So we don't have BSS for local, we do have BSS for city, but for both of them, we did not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page 1 slots on Google for either of them. So if you're a declining Boudoir photographer, a DBP with Boudoir search sameness, and you know that because you've gone and done the local searches, the city searches for the highest intent Boudoir buyer keywords in your area, and you're saying you either had BSS for one, at least one of those searches, or you have, basically you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots for at least one of those searches. So you got BSS, Boudoir search sameness, you're disappearing Boudoir photographer, and you understand that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. So we can actually take as many, as a result, we can actually take as many page 1 Google links as we want. And you actually are saying, wow, S-cubed methodology, this is the only solution for you. You've actually been waiting for something like this to be able to, get all these extra links, page 1 Google search, kick out your competitors, which you actually like a lot more, make them invisible, put them slot 2 and deeper. So you like those initial benefits. You understand the market saturation, yeah, more people join because of, getting new gear just over time. And also you understand that, you're understanding that AI is taking more and more people's jobs right now. And then the last time this happened, COVID, people lost their job, it's still to earn money. Everyone's got a super powered smartphone with an ultra powered camera. So a ton of Boudoir photographers entered the market saturation during that time period. And you're realizing, wow, that's going to happen again more and more over time. On top of people upgrading their gear to become Boudoir photographers, but AI is going to get better and better every single day, every single year. It's going to be taking more and more people's jobs every single day, every single year, forcing more people into the market to become Boudoir photographers because everyone's got a super powered smartphone, with an ultra powered camera. So you're like, so now you're realizing, wait, it's not really about page 1 links. We actually need so many page 1 links that we fully book out page 1. Then we got backlog of page 1 links that Google wants to put on page 1, but can't because we already have too many links there. So then it starts filling up page 2, 3, and 4. Basically, you're realizing you got to actually fortify your page 1 position so that no current Boudoir photographer can ever, basically ever has a chance to rank there. Also, no future boudoir photographer that comes after AI takes their job will ever have a chance to rank there. And you're seeing that, okay, again, S-cube methodology is the only solution that can provide that benefit because basically because it's the only way to get that many links out in the ecosystem. You also like the future, well, you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility because you need these things on your journey to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And as a result, you're liking the future benefits of S-cube methodology as well because you understand we're making these videos, ranking for these keywords. We're actually building these invisible thematic keyword columns kind of plugged into our brand, business name, website name, social handles, your name, website name, website URL, all those things, kind of this cluster of data, plugging in these invisible thematic keyword columns, or we're ranking for these keywords. And as a result, every day we successfully execute S-cube methodology, grow these columns or add new columns, or actually increase the probability we show up here in the AI overview. Here in Google, it's the #1 most premium placement. Right at the top, cannot pay for this through ads. And in parallel, we're actually increasing the probability that AI search apps start to recommend us as well. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. These are increasing in usage every single day for search. Google standard search decreasing every single day. And last time I did AI search for boudoir photographers in a city, it recommended me 3. And I actually went to do manual, Google standard search, Facebook search for boudoir photographers in that same city. Dude, there was 60. So if only 3 be recommended through ChatGPT, we gotta get one of these 3 slots by any means possible. And you're understanding, okay, future benefit S-cube methodology is the only thing that is going to give your business the best chance to achieve that and increase that probability as fast as possible. Third future benefit, growing you to become a large, well-known brand, approximately 8x faster than all these other methodologies or all these other standard solutions because we're doing much more volume spread across many more surfaces. So you like that feature benefit. You also understand that my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city. So you like that. You can get all these benefits, prevent your competitors from getting them, and build up kind of like a large competitive gap between you and them. The links on page 1 for all these keywords, and going and doing building that back-end AI keyword mindshare kind of momentum over time for every day that S-cube methodology is correctly executed. And as a result, you decide you're going to be first mover in your city without this new technology. Give yourself kind of a leg up on everyone else because the converse scenario, if one of your competing with boudoir photographers were to sign on with me first, then you would actually, me and your competitor would be getting all the links on page 1. You'd be booted off to page 2, 3, 4, deeper, invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. We'd be fortifying them, so you're on page 1, so your chance to have a ranking on page 1 again decreases, every single day. And as a result, you would then actually, me and your competitor would be building up this massive back-end AI keyword kind of cloud, or back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum for the highest intent keywords, so they can be recommended in AI overview and AI search apps. And that gap would get bigger every single day. And for you to compete, what you'd actually have to do is rederive S-cubed methodology on your own, but you would never be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. And you would also have to then execute it equivalent to us every single day. And if you were to do all that, you would actually be maintaining the gap me and your competitor had already built up ahead of you. So you'd never actually make any progress towards closing that gap. So in order to close that gap, you'd actually have to increase, 2 to 3x our output. And, since you're not even 100% confident you derived the strategy correctly in the first place, it's hard for you to even put in that time to 2 to 3x our output. And then you're looking like, dude, who's even got 80 hours a day to do all this stuff? So you've decided to screw all that. You decided you'd rather be the first mover in your city and not deal with missing out on this, making sure a competitor doesn't get it. And so, if that's you, shoot us a DM. The hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, but if you, but when we open the hospital for new patient intake, you can DM us then. Because even if you find somebody to contact us now, nope, we ain't working with you. So DM us once the hospital opens for new patient intake, and then we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.